You can't have a breakthrough unless there's something to break through. So if you've been hitting a wall with your goal, or you feel like you're coming up against a million challenges, then get ready, because you are about to have a breakthrough. And in today's video, I'm going to teach you the 3 steps to creating that breakthrough. Identify the challenge, identify the solution, and then apply the solution. And I promise you, if that sounds simple, there is an in-depth way that I'm going to explain this to you, and you have never heard it like this before. If you're new here, my name's Sarah. I'm a high performance coach, and on this channel, I help you take more action towards your goals in your life and your business. Okay, so let's dive into the 3 steps to creating a breakthrough. The first step is to identify the type of challenge that you are facing. There are 2 different types of challenges. There's obstacles and there's problems. An obstacle is when an external situation is in your way, but a problem is when you turn that external situation into something bad. You make it mean that something has gone wrong. Another way to think about it is that an obstacle is when something gets in your way, but a problem is when you get in your way. So an obstacle is created by the external world, and a problem is created within your own mind. That means that sometimes your brain might be facing just an obstacle out in the world. Sometimes your brain might turn that obstacle into a problem in your mind, and sometimes you might not even be having an obstacle at all, and your brain is just coming up with all the problems, and it is generating issues and problems within your mind that aren't actually anything to do with the external world. So for example, if you have a business and you make offers to people to buy your product or your service, maybe you offered it to someone and somebody said no. That would be an obstacle that you have to face. They don't want it, and you have to face the fact that a real world situation has occurred where the person you've offered to does not want what you're selling. But if your brain wants to turn it into a problem, it might say something like, no one's ever gonna buy from me, and this doesn't work, and I need to change what my offer is and change what I'm selling. So you've turned that obstacle into a problem. But your brain also might tell you, even if there is no obstacle, even if a customer says yes to you, your brain might say, I'm never going to succeed because, my history teacher in grade 5 told me I wouldn't. So there is no obstacle in the way, and your brain is still creating a problem. Sometimes our brains do this because they're just trying to keep us safe. So let me know in the comments, are you facing an obstacle or a problem, or both? I would love to know which one is more common for you guys. All right, so once you've identified the type of challenge that you're facing, whether it's an obstacle or a problem or both, you can move on to step 2 of creating a breakthrough, and that is to identify the solution, because the solution for obstacles and problems are different. To overcome an obstacle, you need to make a decision, and to overcome a problem, you need to change what you are thinking. So for example, if we take the example we had before with you creating a business and offering your product or your service to people, if you have the obstacle that someone said no, you have to make a decision about what you're going to do in that situation. Are you going to keep talking with that person and keep trying to encourage them to buy? Are you going to offer your service to someone else or your product to someone else? Are you going to reevaluate what might have gone wrong in that sales conversation? You have to make a decision, but it's coming from a completely neutral space. There's no mind drama getting involved at all. It is purely what decision you need to make. It's almost mathematical. You just simply go, we're either going to do this or we're going to do this. So you have to make a decision. But if your brain is bringing you a ton of drama about it and coming up with all the reasons why it's really bad that this thing has happened and it's turning it into a problem, then you have to change what you are thinking. So you have to identify what you would need to be thinking instead. So instead of thinking, well, they don't ever want to buy from me and no one's ever going to buy from me, you might choose to think, well, this is just one customer, so I'm going to keep trying. Or maybe they don't understand what I'm really offering. And if they truly understood it, then they would want to buy it. So I'm going to keep explaining it to them. So when you change what you're thinking, you let go of the problem. And when you make a new decision, you overcome the obstacle. So which one do you need to do? Are you in an obstacle that you need to make a decision about, or do you have a problem that you need to change your thinking about? If you're experiencing both a problem and an obstacle, you want to start by changing your thoughts. Start by trying trying to solve the problem. Because once you've changed your thoughts in the way that you're thinking about it, you might discover that actually the obstacle isn't even there at all, and you're just creating the problem inside your own mind. So for example, I had a client who once wanted to do public speaking, and in her mind there was this huge obstacle of public speaking because she wanted to get up, but she was always so nervous. And in her mind there was absolutely an obstacle, and the obstacle was getting on stage. But actually, it was simply a problem that she was facing in her mind because she was thinking that being nervous meant something bad. And as soon as she realized that she could just be nervous and that's what it was like to public speak, she overcame the problem, and suddenly the obstacle of public speaking wasn't even there anymore. It didn't even exist because she overcame the problem. So you always want to start by changing what you're thinking and then looking at what decisions you need to make that might need to change. All right, once you've identified what the solution is, whether it's to make a new decision or to change your thinking, then you can go on to step 3 of creating a breakthrough, which is to apply the solution. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to get a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. I want you to write down all of the obstacles on one side that you're facing, and then all of the problems, what you're making those obstacles mean on the other side. So one side's gonna say obstacles, one side's gonna say problems, and you're gonna fill it out. You wanna be really clear that you can see what the real obstacles are and what the real problems are. And the way that you can tell whether something's an obstacle or problem on your piece of paper is that your obstacles are gonna be completely neutral. Every single thing that you put down is going to be a fact. Problems are gonna be all things that your brain has interpreted, and no one else would look at that and have the exact same thoughts. Only you would have those thoughts. Now you get to apply the solutions. So go through each of the problems, start with the problems, and ask yourself, what would I need to be thinking instead? If I didn't have this problem, if I was someone who just didn't even think that this was a problem, what would I be thinking? One of my favorite people to use is Oprah. I just think she would look at my problems and just think they're not problems. And so I imagine, what would Oprah be thinking in this situation? But you can use anyone you want to think about. Whoever you admire or somebody that you think in your situation wouldn't even see it as a problem, think about them and ask yourself, what would they be thinking instead? That is what you want to write down as the new thought that you want to practice thinking. Once you've come up with new thoughts for all of your problems and they don't even feel like problems anymore, then you can go to the obstacles and ask yourself, what decision do I need to make in order to overcome this obstacle? And you want to do this really factually. Now there's no more mind drama because you're not making it a problem. You just get to look at it and be like, this is just a maths problem that I have to solve. It's just a simple factual yes or no, decide this or try that or do this. And you don't have to have the perfect solution. You simply have to make the next best decision that you can. So in that situation, what is the best decision that you can make next? Just to try and see what will happen. All right, that is how to create the breakthrough that you are so close to having. Identify the type of challenge that you're facing, whether it's a problem or an obstacle or both. Then identify the solution. So for problems, you want to change your thinking, but for obstacles, you want to make a new decision. And then apply the solution by actually changing those thoughts and actually applying those decisions. Your breakthrough is about to happen, but only if you implement what we talked about today. So if you want to learn how to follow through on what you say you're going to do every single time, then make sure you check out my video that I did on how to create self-discipline. I have a rule that I follow that makes sure I always do what I say I'm going to do, and I will leave it in the link in the description. All right, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next one.